Hey friends, before we start the video, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit that like button as well. Thanks. What's up everybody? Welcome back to Scrap Trawlers. I am your host, Andy Zupke. With me as always is your other host, Nick Martin.
How's it going, everyone?
Nick, how the heck are you? You doing alright?
Oh, just peachy. We're starting off the work week strong. No decorations in my office. We got a bunch of Scrooges here. How about you?
Wow, nobody's in the spirit. Well, this is my office, and as you can see, it is somewhat decorated. I have this light, these silly lights on green all the time, so I guess I'm kind of already set for Christmas. I don't have a tree in here, but we do have our house tree up down in the living room.
Mariah Carey on repeat?
Oh, no. I mean, nothing against Mariah Carey, but no, I don't do the Christmas music until like Christmas Day.
Right.
I worked in retail for a really long time. I don't need to hear Christmas music ever again. Nah. Anyway, Nick, why don't you tell everybody why we're here tonight, what we're doing?
All right, so as a ScrapChat, we do a bunch of little fun discussions, and today we're doing sort of a year in review for us, the channel, I guess Magic in general, and our top 10 favorite cards of 2020, and that's not top 10 best cards, just kind of our little favorites.
Let's move on to the next thing here. We're doing something brand new tonight. That we're planning to hopefully do for every single Scrap Chat that we do. We're calling it Positivity Spotlight. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to shine a spotlight on either someone or something that happened within the Magic community that we thought brought some positivity. Because that's something that Nick and I are, really big about, spreading positivity, being friendly with everyone, being nice, helping each other out. And Nick, you wanted to nominate somebody for our first spotlight. Why don't you tell everybody who that is?
Yeah, so today we're shining the Positivity Spotlight on Hobbes. You may know him from the Goblin Lore podcast or as HobbesQ or Dr. Hobbes on Twitter. He's pretty great, whether it's emphasizing the importance of mental health and recovery, uplifting voices who may need a signal boost, or just doing a daily friendly check-in. Hobbes is a consistent positive voice in the community, and for that, we're shining a light on you today. Thanks, Hobbes.
Thank you, Hobbes. You're awesome. And this picture that I put up on here, I don't know if you can see it, Nick. It's pretty great.
That's awesome.
He's a great guy. Very happy to know him.
Oh, that is funny.
All right, so moving on. 2020. Nick, was this the year of Commander?
It's a year of something, I'll tell you that. I think it was. Andy, and I'll tell you why. So, I know they were marketing it as the year of Commander for product reasons, but even with the pandemic, as far as I can tell, no other format within Magic has come together as a community to just play through the pandemic like Commander has. I mean, yeah. The spell table thing, I'm sure that was in the works before, but that really came to the forefront in the middle of it all. We saw the Command Fest online start happening. There's boxing leagues going around. It's fricked nuts. Mm-hmm. And I think for that reason, it kind of is the year of Commander. Again, not for product reasons, but more for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way you tell it, that sounds like a really good thing to me. I know that Wizards has had their own plans for 2020 as the year of Commander with their product, and I guess you can look at it from both angles if that was a good thing or not. I know I hear a lot of people say that they prefer when Wizards ignores Commander and just makes cards. But I think we're actually going to talk a little bit more about that after we do our list. I think we should go ahead and get into our top 10. We are going to start with a couple honorable mentions here first up. So here is my honorable mention. Not just the Zagoth Triome, but all the Triomes I thought the Triumphs were fantastic. I love them very much. I bought a lot of Ikoria, not totally intentionally. I bought myself a box, and my wife surprised me with a box as well. So I got a lot of Ikoria. So I got quite a few of the Triumphs. And I love having all three of the types on there. We've never had that before, and I think that's just fantastic, you know, for fetching, for searching for them. You know, Farseek is just awesome with it. And the cycling, I normally don't go for lands that enter the battlefield tapped, but these are just so good that I had to make an exception.
Yeah, my favorite part on that is the cycling. I mean, cycling 3 is a big ask, but I love any of the cycling lands, even the ones that, I mean, they all come into play tapped, but, you know, being able to draw that late in the game and just getting rid of it when you don't need it is great.
All right, let's see your honorable mention.
All right, so my honorable mention is Soulguide Lantern. So with 2020, we got the C20 decks. If you played against Catherall, you know what I'm talking about. Graveyard shenanigans of running rampant as they normally do. Soulguide Lantern is a super cheap way to just deal with that problem. And when you don't need it in a game, say if no one's playing a graveyard deck for some reason, you can just, you know, cash it and draw a card. So it's not bad, and it's less than $2.
Yep. All right. Should we get into our top 10 proper? And before we do that, people in chat, while we're doing our top 10 list, I want you all to think about what your favorite cards were from this year. And then when we're done giving you our top 10, go ahead and start typing those into chat, and we'll talk about the cards that you all liked as well. All right, so my number 10 for 2020, Abomination of Llanowar. Llanowar.
Well, the L is silent. One of them.
Llanowar. All right, so this is a literal elf ball. We talked about this very recently because we just did Commander Legends. This is one of the cards that really made me fall in love with the set, just from a design and flavor standpoint. This card just had me grinning so much. I love everything about it. The art is just it's everything I want to see in like a horrific card. You know that? And Max says that he's building Abomination right now. I actually have an Azuri Renegade deck that I keep set aside for those rare occasions when my wife is forced to play with us. Because it's just an easy elf ball, you know, mono green deck. But I'm actually going to steal that and turn it into an Abomination deck. I'm still going to keep it easy for her, you know, if she ever has to play with us. But that's my number 10.
Speaking of CMDR Central, so when they were talking about it on an episode, there was mention of the Rat King. And if you don't know what that is, it's literally a ball of rats with their tails just all kind of knotted up. And I guess that was some of the inspiration for this Abomination of Llanowar, which is kind of gross.
Mm-hmm. Hey Caleb, thanks for joining us. All right, should we go to your number 10?
Let's do it.
All right.
So coming in at number 10 is Terror of the Peaks, which I affectionately call Muscle Dragon, because the art of that thing, that's like the buffest dragon I think that I've seen on a card. Like most of them are, you know, big belly, fire breathing dragons. That one's just gonna like come and punch you in the face. So Warstorm Surge in a body, easy to abuse, and it's in one of the more powerful tribes in the format. Not for like consistency's sake, but just raw power in dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously included in the Ur Dragon decks, comes down on 4. But I think it's going to do a little more work in Bladewing the Risen decks. So you can, you know, reanimate that one out. You can shoot like a giant living death. You can just take out 1 or 2 players at the table, pick off the last one. So if you're not doing the World Gorger Dragon combo, this is a nice substitute.
That's a cool card. It's very powerful. I did not pick any up because they expensive.
Yes. I'm glad I pulled one of my pre-release box.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm sad that I didn't get any, but maybe someday. I rarely spend that much money on single cards, but it's a very good card. All right. My number 9. Emergent Ultimatum. So I run this in my Damia deck, and it basically ends a game with the 3 spells that I get. So I'm gonna let you in on a secret. You want to know something about what I do with Emergent Ultimatum in my Damia deck?
You can tell me, because I haven't played against it yet.
Okay, well, and people in chat will get to learn this too. So I specifically pick Expropriate and then 2 spells that I really want. Because nobody wants me to ever cast Expropriate. I honestly don't care about Expropriate, but I put it in there because everybody else does. I get this. I get Expropriate, and I get the 2 spells that I really want at that time. And I think, I guess I'll take this Boundless Realm. Sure, whatever.
So, for a time, I played Giftstorm in Modern, and if you're playing it properly, when you cast Gifts Ungiven, it doesn't matter what they give you. You're gonna win. You're gonna win either on the spot the next turn. That's kind of gross with Emergent Ultimatum and Expropriate. I love it.
Yeah. Chris Von Doom said Eerie Ultimatum was his favorite. The cycle. That's the one that brings all the stuff back from your graveyard with different casting costs, right? Yeah.
The good one.
That's a really good one too. I was a big fan of Ruinous Ultimatum.
Yes, it was.
It's a powerful card.
I don't want to call it Fair Cyclonic Rift, but I mean, it's pretty good, and it's fairly costed. Being 7 different colored pips. So.
Yeah, that's the kind of casting cost Cyclonic Rift should have.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, let's move on to your number 9.
All right, so my number 9 is Soul Shatter. So it's an easier to cast version of Crackling Doom. Shout out to Mardu. That also has Planeswalkers. That's pretty much it for that, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. So anybody who's been paying attention to Magic for the last couple years is already of Sedminkin in art. I mean, it's easy to see why. His art's fantastic. But my favorite of this year is Wiley Beckert. Continues to impress me with her style. D&D players may recognize their work on Tasha's Culture of Everything, which I think is like the latest 5th edition book or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not an art connoisseur, but I'm gonna try. So let's go. The colors blend very well, and the lights and darks make everything pop. That's pretty much all I got for pulled up my pinky here for art connoisseur.
That's better than I could do.
I really love everything that Wiley's putting out, and they just put up new prints in their shop, including Reclaim the Waste, which is that kind of lower power end ramp thing from Zendikar Rising with Kicker. But it's really cool, so go and check it out. I'm going to link their portfolio in the chat.
Okay. Cool. I'm also a big fan of this card, and I did put this in my Kess deck. And
oh yeah,
it's a good one. It's a good one. All right, let's move on. My number 8 is Wrong Turn. This card isn't it's not crazy powerful, but it just does something cool. Instant speed, switch control of a creature. You don't get the creature, but somebody who can take less advantage of that creature gets it. I think that's just a really sweet design.
Definitely.
I
shout out to the interaction with Dralnu. So you can activate it at instant speed and just give it to somebody else in response to Blasphemous Act, and they sack their team permanents.
So I mean, this is one of those cards that I'm gonna be probably putting in a lot of decks.
I haven't played it yet, but I'm a fan of the fun political stuff. I wouldn't even try to be cheeky with it, like hey Andy, you need some help, you're falling behind on stuff. Have this big old creature, do some work. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah, you could definitely do politics with it. Or you can just stop a big creature from attacking you, Mm-hmm. As I said before, it even shuts down some decks that rely too much on their commander.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Next one. Ooh, here's another one
Here we go.
that I've had fun with.
Yeah, so my number 8 is Allure of the Unknown. I'm a fan of the weird Rakdos cards that have come out earlier that just kind of do like not busted things like Rakdos Charm, but like situational but funny things like Captive Audience and Rakdos the Coin Flipper. It feels very like very EDH to me, and
Yeah.
Allure gives me a lot of those feels. So at worst, it's a 5-mana draw 5, which is a good rate, and then your opponent gets to pick the best of the 6, which is, you know, if you build your deck around a bunch of niche cards with like weird synergies, it kind of doesn't matter what they get because it might just, you know, be really bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
If I end up building Blim, I'm definitely going to put this in as my second card.
Yeah, I agree. Rakdos has been getting a lot of really fun cards in the last couple of years. Shout out to Seb McKinnon, of course, doing amazing art. And I played this in my Kess deck as well. And if you saw that episode, you saw Nick got something really good when I cast this spell.
Yeah, I'll take a Karn's Temporal Sundering for free on your turn. That seems really good.
Yeah. So I mean, there's certainly the potential for big drawbacks if they get one of your big spells, but 5 mana for draw 5, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
And it also makes for some good stories.
Yeah. Yes, certainly does. All right. Moving on, I think this is my number 7. We got Song of Creation. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. At the beginning of your end step, discard your hand. We're not going to talk about the artist on this one because not a good guy. But I threw this into my Kaneo Sentiro deck, and it is way more powerful than I think people are giving it credit for. I mean, obviously having the 3 color pips is a huge drawback, so it's not going to fit in a lot of decks. But I've comboed off with this card in play a bunch of times. It's not the drawback. If you set yourself up, the drawback is it's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. As I mentioned, Storm, I'd probably want to play this in like, you know, some sort of weird Temur Storm deck. I was actually thinking of pairing this with like any of the new Cascade cards because each Cascade counts as a cast. So you would Cascade, you would draw 2 cards, get your Cascaded card, draw 2 more cards. So you just it's free real estate. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I love this card. I think it's a very cool design. Ginger Joe's in chat telling me to sing a song. No.
No Mariah Carey. Come on.
Oh God, Mariah Carey. Jeez. I don't have a whistle range. I can't sing like Mariah. Here's your number 7. Tell us about it.
All right, cool. At number 7, I have Sublime Epiphany. I play a lot of blue. It's my main color. Red is my backup. But I don't enjoy playing straight up counter magic. If you get nothing to counter, like counterspell is a dead card, and you kind of help your opponents if you don't have any sort of additional benefit to countering a spell. You know, you're down a card, the caster's down a card, and then your opponents are technically up a card. Modal counterspells are a little more expensive, but they kind of fix the issue by countering the spell or doing something different, or countering the spell and doing something different. And Sublime Epiphany goes over the top and does everything you want. Counter spells, abilities, bounces permanents, copies permanents, and it gives you, you know, some card draw. One thing I haven't been able to do yet, at least in paper, is to use every single mode on it. I've done it once in Brawl.
Okay. So Colin is not a fan of this one. I'm pretty I'm lukewarm on it. I'm not a big fan. I mean I know it does more than counter stuff, but 6 mana to hold up for that is I don't know. It's hard, but it does a lot. I don't really have any interest in it, but I can see why you do like it. Oh, Colin says he doesn't like being on the other side of it. All right, well, Colin plays a lot more arena, so I think
you need to sing the song.
I don't know what song I would sing. I'm not a.
You gotta make one.
I'm not a jukebox. Jukebox hero. There you go. I sang a song.
Perfect.
There's your song, people. All right, here is my number 6. Maddening Cacophony. If you watched the last game of episode 3 of Scrap Trawlers, you know that this card is busted.
Woof.
It is absolutely broken. So I not only kicked it, I copied it. So the guys all had to mill half their library, and then they had to mill half their library again. So it's really good. It's really good. I love it. I'm not a big fan of mill either. That's the weird thing. I don't know why I love this card so much. But even when it was first revealed, before I even played, I'm like, oh man, this card's so cool.
Right. Let's talk about it like in a budget environment too, right? So
Sure.
The problem with mill and EDH is that if anybody's running Eldrazi, and a lot of people do, mill doesn't work unless you have a way to exile stuff on the stack, like Sublime Epiphany.
Yeah.
In a budget sphere, you don't have to worry about that. And even if mill isn't your main game plan, cutting somebody's library down to like 25 cards is they're not going to last that much long. It doesn't matter how much life they're at. They're not making them. So it definitely has a place in budget environments, and I'm going to be on the lookout for this one from now on. Cool. Number 6 is Sanctum of All. So this one caused a lot of excitement in the community during the preview season. I was definitely in on that hype. In college, I brewed a lot of budget decks because, I had like $20 a month to do whatever. But I didn't really tackle the 5-color archetype because of the bad mana base. And then the Guild Gates and Maze's End came out, so I decided to give it a go. Corona was a quarter. I picked her up, picked up the Vow Cycle and the Kamigawa Shrines just to do like some 5-color enchantment thing. Worked out pretty well, so I was super pumped to see this when it came out, along with 5 other shrines. So the most common deck for this is probably like the Sisay Shrines deck, where you can tutor up any of the shrines thanks to their legendary super typing. I actually rebuilt that Corona deck with all the shrines, all 11 of them now, plus the Vows, plus the Impetus Cycle from C20. Same cheap mana base, but yeah, this one, I just kind of like it. It's a little bit of nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. This one wasn't really on my radar too much. I didn't have any intention of doing any sort of shrine deck, but I did get to see your Corona deck in action, and it was a lot of fun. It's a cool card. All right, now we're on to one of my cards. This is my number 5, right?
Yeah. Yes, it should be.
We're on to my number 5. Shadow Spear. So I think this was the first card of the year that I got excited about. Because Theros Beyond Death came out like January, February?
Yeah, January.
And obviously, everybody knows I'm all about the artifacts. This one is just so good. I mean, it's really good as equipment. Trample and Lifelink, +1/+1. It's cheap to equip. It's super cheap to cast. And it's got pay 1 permanents your opponents control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That's bonkers. This card should cost way more than 1 mana. It's so good, and I actually think I should be running it in more than one deck. I only run it in my Kaikar equipment deck. I should probably have it in Traxos too. It's so good.
I think so. It's compare this to what used to be the Trample Lifelink equipment, which is like Loxodon on Warhammer, and that thing looks super overcosted compared to this. The permanents your opponents control lose the hexproof and indestructible. It's supposed to be used for like the god cards in the set, right? But that's just really good in general. Gets rid of boots, doesn't care about Avacyn. It just kind of makes your deck go. So if you're looking for equipment, yeah, I would definitely look at this one first.
Yeah, I mean, hexproof and indestructible, you see those in almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. All right, on to Nick's number 5.
All right, bottom half, let's go. Coming in at number 5, we have Apex Devastator, fresh from Commander Legends. So people who know me know that I love brewing like really bad janky decks. I'm a Johnny at heart, but I'm also a Timmy. So Devastator is just fun to read, and I haven't casted it yet. I own one, haven't casted it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be super great. aside from being a 10/10 Cascade 4, I think this is like one of the best ways that green, especially mono green, can come back from a board wipe. Once the board is cleared, you just drop this. Hopefully, you get some other creatures to help your Apex get in there. A little bit faster, maybe with some evasion.
Because green needed help, right?
It does. It's the worst color.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just love it.
I sadly did not get one in my box, and they're pretty expensive, so I most likely won't get one. But it's a great card. Just reading it makes me chuckle.
Exactly.
It's just cascade, 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 cascade. It's
like I think Aaron and I saw this at the same time, and we just bust out laughing when we saw this card.
And and it's not like the other just stupidly busted green cards we've had recently that have like reach, hexproof, trample, so on and so on. It's just, you get free stuff, but it itself is not unkillable. So at least there's that, I guess. It's still a broken card though.
You can draw 8 cards or 10 cards with your Song of Creation. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. All right, moving on to my number 4. Oh, surprise. It's another artifact. Forsaken Monument. So, interesting thing about this, I actually just bought this card. I was like very, very hyped about it when it was first revealed, but it was a little pricey, so I wanted to wait for the price to go down, so I just bought it like a couple days ago.
Oh, nice. Of
course, it's going into Traxos because that's where it makes the most sense. But it does everything that my Traxos deck wants it to do, and so it's basically a perfect deck, perfect card for my Traxos or any colorless deck.
Right, I actually like this a lot because it's a colorless card that doesn't go in every deck. Like Shadow Spear, you can make an argument it can go in every deck. Forsaken Monument, it doesn't do a lot unless you're specifically like a monocolor deck, like Traxos. So I think like pushed artifacts like these are, I would say, very okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Next, number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is the Serpent of Yawning Depths. So I've got an Aristocrats QR deck that, while it does like the powerful Simic Sea creature thing, kind of has an issue of closing out games. The Serpent fixes that problem, and it's a great tribal option for everything sea creatures. I really enjoy the tribal design that's designed for multiple creatures that don't really fall under the traditional Lord of the Grants +1/+1 and Swamp Walk or stuff like that. So cards like this, cards like Swarmyard, Animal Sanctuary, they're just kind of like weird tribal cards that are very specific, but also kind of general in what they want to do. I like those, and I hope we get more of those in the future.
Yeah, this card is all you. I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to say about this. This is not for me. This is a Nick card.
Also, while putting this in our list, I didn't read the flavor text. I just realized like last night. I'm pretty sure Siona's dead.
Okay.
Or maybe not because she's telling the story. I don't know.
All right. Well, I don't know either. I don't know the story very much. Moving on to number 3. Here's my number 3 out of Commander Legends. Burn is back, baby. Mana burn on a creature. Yurlok of Scorch Thrash.
No, Yurlok.
Yurlok. Your mom. Your mama's lock. So when this got revealed, and again, like Abomination from Llanowar, I was just like instantly, I just couldn't stop smiling. I'm like, what a nice way to like, pay tribute to like old Magic, you know, and I think that's a big part of what they were doing with this set, especially with the story and all the characters that never had cards before but now do. But also with this design of this card, bringing it back to the time when mana burn was a thing, where if you didn't spend all your mana, you took a damage for each mana. And I loved it. Chris Von Doom, if he's still with us in chat, has already built a Yearlock deck, and it is nasty. I played against it, and it is kicked my butt pretty hard. He built it very, very well. It's a very cool deck. It's a very cool card. It's very popular with a lot of people. Definitely getting a lot of people building it, and I can see why, because it does something that no other commander does. And I think that's, knowing that we have that, I can look at that and say that's how I know that Commander Legends is a success, because it didn't give us like broken commanders that everybody complains about, like Thrasios or Tulane. You know, it gave us a lot of stuff like this that you have to really build around, but are just really cool designs and almost invent a new strategy. You know, mana burn wasn't a thing in EDH until we got Yearlock.
With that being said, I do have 2 problems with this card.
That's nice. So let's move on.
It's 2020 green, so of course Yearlock has a random, keyword that isn't in Jun's color pie. Like, what Jun creature has vigilance? No. Okay, but like that aside, the second one is the art. Like, Jesper, if you ever watch this video, is that supposed to be his armor's tail? Like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know what it's doing. But it's a cool card.
Yeah, I'm sure Jesper's watching us. All right. Let's see. We're moving on to your number 3.
All right. So final 3. Back on the weird tribes, I'm tagging in Witch of the Moors. Witches aren't a real tribe in the traditional Magic sense. So if you're like me and wanted to build Witch Tribal, you're kind of relying on straight card synergy and flavor to get your kicks in. Witch of the Moors works very well with my favorite trio of cards from M14, which is the Bogbrew Trio. So if you can combine this with Bogbrew Witch, Festering Newt, and Bubbling Cauldron, you're able to do this every turn. You give a creature -4/-4, drain the table for 4, gain 4 life, and then make each opponent sacrifice a creature and get the Newt back. You can do that every turn, and it's got Death Touch. So, big fan of this card.
Yeah, it's a good card. I think the only card on our list from Jumpstart, and I don't know, that set like had a bunch of cards that were really good, but like just aren't seeing play because of the production distribution issues, whatever you want to call them, you know.
Yeah, like the pandemic kind of really messed with Jumpstart. But yeah, I would really love to play more of it. Play a little bit on Arena. It was fine, but it wasn't really like exciting like we did it in person. Kind of the same story with Commander Legends, right? Where you don't get the draft aspect right now because you can't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like with this set, they should have just postponed it. Because, like, with Commander Legends, you know, it's meant to be drafted, but we can still just take the cards out of it and put them into our decks and play them over a spell table. Or you can, you know, do sealed. But with Jumpstart, you got to put 2 decks together and play with people. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. I just felt like they would have done better if they had just postponed this until next year.
I think so.
They would have had a lot less headaches, and a lot less people price gouging on the chase commanders, you know?
Yeah, like the mill one, not Brutaclad, Bruvac, I think.
Yeah. Tiny Bones. Tiny Bones is way ridiculously overpriced.
It's also a mistake.
All right.
Alright, so what do you got for number 2?
Yeah. Number 2, another artifact, of course. And probably my favorite card from Commander Legends. We'll see. That might change over time, but right now it's my favorite card. It is Commander's Plate. So this costs 1. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. And then you can equip it to your commander for just 3 mana. I love this card. I love my artifact toys. I love my Traxos deck. This is just another I don't know. WotC just really wanted my Traxos deck to have a lot of fun this year, and I appreciate that. Gavin,
they called you.
I know Gavin's watching. Gavin, I really appreciated that. Him and Jesper are sitting together watching us. Richard Garfield's there too.
$20.
Yeah. Shout out a couple new people in chat. We got Pan Unbroken, and Sully just showed up. True story. Sully is a super generous, nice guy. Not only did he send me a picture of his naked foot, he also sent me a shiny foil copy of Commander's Plate. And that is a super generous thing. So
yeah, Sully, I begrudgingly thank you for now having to play against that every once in a while, so thanks.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
I got one too, so.
Yeah, I get it. You're gonna put it in. You're putting it in Blind Seer. I know.
It technically. I mean, not even technically. It's better in Traxos. Let's be honest. Like, I have to try in Blind Seer.
So Andy Flory in chat says he hasn't seen it in play, but the word on the Bird site is that Commander's Plate is going to be one of the most popular cards from Commander Legends. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's pretty expensive. It is a mythic, but it is pretty expensive already.
Cool thing is, it makes every Teamer commander into Animar. So you just get pro Orzhov.
Nice. All right. Should we move on to your number 2?
We'll be moving to my number 2. Yeah. Number 2. So, number 2 is the only non-EDH specific card on my list. So enter Conspicuous Snoop. Just let him in. He doesn't know what he's doing. So in every other format besides EDH, I'm a Goblins player. I started with Goblin Bushwhacker and Zendikar Standard and been a fan of the tribe ever since. My first EDH deck gifted to me by Dustin, actually, was Wart Bogard Ante. So anybody who knows the tribe or loves it knows that it suffers a lot from not having any decent lords at CMC2 like Merfolk and Elves. Snoop doesn't exactly fix the problem, but it did give Goblins a combo enabler, which it didn't really have before besides Kiki Jiki, which was 5 mana. So specifically in Modern, you can use a combination of Goblin Matron, Kiki Jiki, and Mog Fanatic, and this to combo kill the opponent. You can do it in EDH too. Going back to Jumpstart real quick, I haven't forgotten about Muxus, but he's like $40. And Snoop is less than $2. So Snoop is sneaking in this time.
Snoop. Yeah, another in kind of a long line recently of Wizards giving us cards that let you cast stuff from the top of your library. We got Mystic Forge last year. Elsha as well, and this one just lets you cast goblins, so that's a lot of fun. I never had a goblin deck. I've got my butt kicked by goblin decks many times. Our buddy Zach has a pretty, like, whenever he breaks out Krenko,
you know what's happening.
Yeah, A, he's lost a few games and wants a win. And B, I just groan because I was like, ugh, okay, fine.
That's awesome.
All right, are we ready for number 1?
All right, let's go to your number 1.
All right, chat, remember, think about what your favorite cards are this year, and tell us about them after we give you our number 1s here, and we'll talk about your cards as well. So my number 1 is, surprisingly, not an artifact, but it has a really sweet activated ability. And it is also a goblin. My number 1 card of the year is Brash Taunter. Yep. You hit like a kobold! This card is amazing. I have won every game that I've played with it. It's so fun, and the design is great. The flavor is just perfect. I absolutely love this card. This is one of my favorite cards of all time.
little did we know Brash Taunter was like yelling at Rogra. Like we had no idea.
Rogra, yeah. But he is a kobold.
Yeah.
So interesting thing. I don't know if you noticed. I was looking at EDH Rec yesterday in preparation for some of this, and I was looking at Commander Legends, and Rogra is actually the most popular partner commander so far from Commander Legends.
I mean, it's still funny, but I'm not surprised.
I guess I'm surprised. I mean, there's
goofy.
Yeah.
People love playing goofs.
Yeah.
Like I think people need to understand, like, especially if you're really active on Twitter, the the majority of people like don't try to go hard. Like they just want to goof.
Mm-hmm. So he says he's building Rograk in Arden. Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
So Voltron deck, excellent. I had Arden in the Rayav deck, the sealed deck that I built, and Arden is no joke. Arden's really good.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
All right, we ready for your number one?
Yes.
All right, let's see it.
The finale. All right. So my number one favorite card of the year is Vadrok, Apex of Thunder. I think it's the only Ikoria card on both of our lists. Yeah, it looks like it.
No, I had the Triumphs and Song of Creation.
Oh, that's Triumph. Triumphs doesn't count.
Yeah, it was honorable mention, but Song of Creation was on there.
That is true. So, Andy, if you remember, I first played this card in our local play group for one of our budget challenges.
Yep.
I think it was just, play with the most recent set. And if you also remember, the deck won almost every game
is good.
that we played.
It's really good.
Very close. I built it as like Artifact Aristocrats. So at first glance, Vadrok's mutate ability seems pretty weak in the grand scale of what you can do in EDH.
Yeah, I felt like you went into it like not expecting it to do much, right?
I really didn't. I'm like, you know what? I like Aaron's Sharoom deck, so I'm gonna try that with red instead of black for artifacts. So while it's true that it's only 3 CMC, it's still very strong with a select few cards, especially on a budget. See the Truth turns into a legal ancestral recall that you just get for free.
See the Truth is really good. Almost made it on my list too.
Yeah, you can loop Soul Guide Lantern. Shout out to Soul Guide Lantern to lock out graveyards, or just draw cards. You can reuse removal spells like Oblation. You can sacrifice your artifacts to Kuldath Rebirth, which makes goblins. And there's just way more that you can do than just artifacts with the ability. I know in competitive EDH, you can loop it with Snap and Dockside Extortionist for infinite mana. Not to mention all like the jank stuff you can do with clones, blinks, and mutate stacks. So my recommendation is, if you're looking for a different Jeskai commander and you don't want to spend too much money to explore the color combination, look at Vadrok. There's a lot to be had here.
Yeah, when I first saw the card when the set came out, I was like, I don't know. But after seeing you play it, it's really good. This guy, Vadrok is powerful. It's a very cool card.
It
and
is.
Excellent
I have one
choice.
Coming in the mail. I finally bit the bullet. I'm like, yeah, I want it.
Oh, your promo one?
Yeah. So I'm getting that in the mail, and we're gonna try to copy the paper or the electronic list I have in paper, and just rock that as a budget deck.
Yeah. No, that's a cool card. All right, people in chat. 2 things. First, like I said, tell me what your favorite card or cards of the year were. And I want you to tell me if you noticed anything missing. Anything particular missing from our sets. Anything you didn't see. I'll give you a hint. It's a particular set. There are no cards in our top 10 lists for one specific set. Alright, so Colin says Snapdax. Let's look at Snapdax. Another Apex.
Actually, we have a couple more than just one, I guess. So we have no secret layers.
Well, I don't count that. That's all reprints, except for the Walking Dead.
Yeah. Snapdax art is cool. I think Snapdax was actually the first thing that you saw on the promo for Ikoria. My favorite promo art for Ikoria is actually the Obosh art that didn't make it to print.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one where it's like really green and it's got Vivian in the front holding the bow, and Obosh is just in like this weird cavern and whatnot. It's my background on my computer. It's sweet.
Colin had another guess, M21. Also wrong. Nick, you actually had quite a few M21 cards on yours, and my number 1 was M21. Vito. Andy Flory mentioned Vito. Thorn of the Dusk Rose. He just built that this year. Very, very powerful creature.
Because vampires needed more
So
help.
whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. That's good. I hear.
Sanguine Bond or the other one on a stick. I don't remember which one is which.
Yeah, is this Sanguine Bond or Exquisite Blood? I don't know. One of the two, but it does. Yeah. All right. Anybody else in chat got any cards from this year that they really liked a lot that they want to praise before we move on? Let's see. Pan says Sethron.
Oh yeah. Andy Fleury has a pretty sweet Sethron deck that I didn't think it was going to do too much until he cast. What was that card from Theros Beyond Death? The one where it's like search your library for 4 Minotaurs and throw them into play.
Oh yeah.
That card is nuts.
Yeah. My friend Tom also has a Sethron deck too, and yeah, Andy Fleury's Sethron deck is really good. Deathbellow Warcry is the card you were thinking of. And yes, we did have Zendikar Rising in there a bunch of times, actually. Andy. Let's see. Sully says, let's take a moment to show some respect for Nahiri and how they screwed her over so bad. My poor queen got a trash 50-cent mythic. Well, that's not exactly your favorite.
Cents? I need to pick up a copy.
It's not exactly your favorite card of the year, though. I hear you. Okay. So the set that was missing from both of our top 10 lists was Commander 2020.
Yeah, we had none.
Neither one of us had any cards from Commander 2020 in our top 10 list, which is weird and kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's I want to say 3 outstanding cards from that series, and they're all the free commander spells, specifically the Jeskai ones.
The Fierce Guardianship, yeah.
One,
yeah.
Fierce Guardianship caused the price of that precon, as far as I can tell, like everywhere locally here. That precon costs more on the shelf than it does everywhere else, except if you're going to like Target. And then the red one, Deflecting Swat, and the white one, Flawless Maneuver. I think those are the best of the best, and especially for the Boros ones. If you're a diehard Boros fanatic, you need those cards.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, they weren't too exciting, at least in my opinion. There were some great reprints, like the Locust God. But I just didn't really care for like cycling. The Mutate Commander wasn't that great because the one in the actual Ikoria set in those colors, Brokos, was just way better.
I actually, Mike Coyle from Guardian Project has a really good Otrimi deck that is really good.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, obviously everybody talked about the free to cast spells, and they're very powerful, but they don't excite me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is just a counter spell. Okay. That doesn't interest me all that much. We've seen counter spells. I mean, yeah, it's free to cast. We've seen that too. You know, of all the new commanders as well, like you said, the cycling deck, I did not like the cycling deck at all.
Brawlin played that during one of our local play groups.
Yeah, in our local play group, I had to build the cycling deck, which I was not happy about. Specifically because the prior year I had to build Angie Falconwrath. So it was 2 years I got stuck doing discard decks, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I ended up building Brawlin and Shabraz, and I just just wasn't happy about it. But, you know, of the new commanders, I think, you know, obviously we've both seen Catherall do some really broken things.
Mm-hmm.
Catherall whoops pretty hard.
Yeah, that thing is, if it has it, it's a menace. But no, it can one shot you like under most conditions.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Just wasn't one of my favorites. And I built Calamax, but I took it apart because I don't know. I just wasn't smart enough to build that one because I was trying to do too much with it, I think. But I don't know.
Yeah, so let's call out the Ozolith, which I didn't forget about. It's a sweet card. Like we've never had a card like this before. It just doesn't excite me for what it does. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. Most of the time, you're going to use wall encounters because that's the most common, you know, counter type in the game. Mm-hmm. But it is cool with like things like Catherall. You can put all the other keyword counters on it, which I don't feel like we'll see that mechanic return. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Andy Flory from Guardian Project, who's in chat, he had I don't know if he still has the Nakara and Yawning deck that was really cool. That had like a bunch of different kinds of counters, and it did really good work as well. Yeah, I like the Ozolith as well. It just didn't make my top 10.
It was a weird set. Like, I'm glad that they like tried to push the boundaries of the game itself, but I think they screwed it up with the companions and all that stuff. There were some misses like companions and the keyword counters, but they had like they had mutate like that. That is a Johnny's dream of an ability. Like, you can do so much weird stuff with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually really liked Ikoria. I was sad. I know it's sold really well, but it doesn't seem to be like super popular for EDH. Like, I was looking at the stats on EDH Rec, it's just, I don't know, just not a whole lot there from Ikoria or Commander 2020, to be honest. Do you think that Commander 2020 was hurt by being released at the same time as Ikoria? Do you think that was a bad decision?
I don't think so. And that was correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first time they tied a Commander release to a set.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know if that hurt it. I guess I have to think about that one for a bit. But at first thoughts, I don't think so. I think both of them were kind of hurt, you know, by most things this year, the pandemic.
Yeah. I bought all 5 of the Commander 2020 decks. I pre-ordered them with hopes of, you know, playing them out of the box with people, and that was before I really got into webcam Commander. So unfortunately, I ended up taking them apart pretty soon after because I didn't have anything to do with them. You know, when I pre-ordered them, that was back in like April when we still thought like, hey, this will be gone soon, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No.
It was not gone soon. I still look back and laugh at my dad who said, I hope this is gone by May.
Oh, jeez.
Like, nope.
Me too.
So,
me too.
All right. Well, okay. I think we can move on. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
So that's 2020 for cards.
Yeah, what about Commander Legends? Before we move on to the year review,
yeah.
How do you think that's going to age? I know it's fresh in our minds, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell this soon after a set is released, like how much it's going to hold on to the community. There's not a ton of data yet in EDH Rec, but there's a lot of commanders that are super popular already. Like we saw, Yurlock is really popular. You know, Sakashima has a lot of people talking because it partners with pretty much anything and does well.
Because we needed another Thrasios. Why not have 2?
Yeah, double your pleasure, right? Um, I I'm sad that we didn't really, at least not yet, get to do the full-on draft experience. I did get to do some sealed with it. I played my Rayoff deck, um, but I feel like I know there were a lot of naysayers before it came out, like, oh, this is gonna ruin Commander. Like, this is gonna be just the most busted Commander cards ever. It's gonna be like 70 Chulanes and Corvalds and Thrasioses, and it wasn't. I think the set is extremely well balanced, at least from what I've seen so far, and I'm super happy with it. I wish I could quit my job and just brew decks all day. If there's anybody in chat who wants to be my sugar daddy or mommy and pay me to do that, shoot me a message. Because I would like to write about Commander Legends decks all day. That'd be great. I would love to brew a ton of them, but with the limited amount of time I have, I'll probably only end up brewing like 3 or 4 at most.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in bowling terms. If Commander Legends had a bowling average, it'd be about 270, which is, for those of you who don't know, that's hitting like 9 strikes in a row and then like kind of screwing up at the end. But anyway, aside from the very few misses with Hull Breacher and Opposition Agent, the rest of the cards I think are just fantastic. There are some great reprints in there. There were some commanders like Urlock that you mentioned that opened up new strategies in the format that didn't exist before, and they fixed the partner mechanic. I know everybody's more of a fan of partner with, at least from what I've seen, but I feel like the partners that we got this time around were way better, and I think they should continue to do the monocolored partners moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was super happy with all the partners. I mean, obviously the mythic ones are really powerful, but they're not. I don't think they're busted. I know people were like kind of complaining a little bit about Tefish Zot's ultimate. Like, how often?
Ultimate is so cool.
How often do you really get to ultimate a Planeswalker in Commander? I almost never see it. It's not. I'm sure it's going to happen. I'm sure people will build around it and with the intention of doing that, but that's a lot of work.
It is. But when it happens, it's like the ultimate, yeah, it might not even end the game, but you're going to remember that game, either because you're a little upset your commander got taken, or from like the stupid shenanigans that entail afterward.
Mm-hmm. So let me take that off. So Andy Florian chat said we didn't get the remainder of the Ravnica Perons in Commander Legends. What did you miss from Commander Legends? What did you think was missing?
We didn't get a werewolf commander.
We also did not get my Myr commander that I wanted.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different.
I guess we're getting werewolves next year in
the new Innistrad sets. Yeah.
Yeah, the Innistrad werewolf set.
Yeah.
I really wanted I wanted to see Kiora again. I don't know if or when we're ever going to see her again, but I feel like if they made her, able to be your commander, that'd be like my card of the year, hands down.
Okay. I really wanted more 4-color commanders because I think we just need more options. I was really surprised that we got one this year.
Yeah.
Like just one. Weird. Like when they revealed Omnath, I'm like, oh sweet, Zendikar Rising is where we're gonna get our other 4-color commanders, and I was stoked about that. And no, we didn't. We didn't get them there. We also didn't get them in Commander Legends, which is where I figured we would get them. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they're just being so tight with 4-color commanders? Do you think they're too powerful?
I honestly, no, I don't. And I don't think they're powerful anymore because of how fast power creep is nowadays. I mean, power creep is a natural part of like game progression, like as a game continues to evolve. It's just kind of going to happen to keep things interesting. If you remember when the Artifact 4-color one came out, I'm blanking on the name right now. Like, people thought that she was just like the
Brea?
bee's knees. Yeah, Brea.
Mm-hmm.
She was just a bee's knees. I actually built that deck, and I spent like $400 trying to build like the best combo deck I could. And then I stopped playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's just something I didn't want to do. And then people realized, like, oh, I guess the partners are where you're supposed to be. And I kind of think the bad taste it left in people's mouths with the original partners are the reason why WotC is so hesitant to print more 4-color commanders, just because they were in the same set.
Okay.
And then you got what happened with the new Omnath, where it just kind of broke everything. So, I don't know. The easiest thing they could do, in my opinion, is just make the Nephilim legendary and see what happens.
Colin in chat says there's a ton. They're making tons of 5-color commanders, which I'm surprised we didn't get one of those in Commander Legends either.
Yeah.
If they're willing to make so many 5-color commanders, why can't we get more 4 colors? I mean, 4 colors can do less than 5 colors, right?
Right, and I'm just now remembering it. There's a design problem that I think Ethan Fleischer mentioned, if I'm remembering correctly. When building a 4-color, or trying to build a 4-color card, it's less about adding abilities and text to the card that matches with what those colors do. It's more of what those colors don't do, and that's kind of what you have to focus around. Okay. Like the Lycaneos and Tiro,
yeah,
it's everything but black. And if you know your colors, black plays very well with itself. So their idea with that was, why don't we just have this commander play well with everybody else?
Okay.
So I think that might be one of the reasons why it's just a little bit harder to design those cards.
Yeah. Lenny, welcome to chat, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey, Lenny.
Lenny says, Atraxa forever. Very good to have him here. So do you think it's going to age well, Commander Legends?
Oh, yeah. I think we'll see another.
Yeah. I think the set is super popular. I think a lot of the people who were worried about it are definitely not worried about it anymore. I was never worried about it because I don't. My brain doesn't work that way. I don't worry about that. I think they knocked it out of the park, really, to be honest. And I think we're gonna see a lot of stuff coming out of the set, as far as, different partner combinations and commander decks for quite a long time. There's just so much to mine from this set,
This is one of the few sets where I'm, like, if I'm being honest, I'm more excited to play against what people brew than I am to brew myself.
Okay. Yeah, I guess in a way that's true for me too, because like I said, I don't have time to make a ton of decks, so I can live vicariously through other people. Like I mentioned, Chris Von Doom's Yurlock deck. I was really excited about Yurlock when that first came out, and I thought I might build it, but I'm not going to. Because it is actually pretty popular. I kind of got that hipster thing going. But I was very excited to play against it because I like seeing all the new commanders, and what people do with them. And Andy Flore mentioned, drafting it. I think there's every chance that next year I might buy another box just to do that with people once we all get vaccinated and we can start, getting together again. And I'm looking forward to doing that. Hopefully with you and Aaron.
Oh yeah, I'm like, you wouldn't know it from our Pauper Cube draft that we did, but I'm terrible at drafting. So, but I just want to play with the cards and play with people.
Yeah. So, Commander Legends, thumbs up from me. I think is a great set. I wouldn't be sad to see another one. I'm sure it'll be years before we do, but yeah, I think they did a really good job. All right. Let's move on. We're going to talk about... We're done talking about the cards for now. What we're going to talk about now, if people want to keep hanging out with us, we're going to talk about our year in review for us personally for Scrap Trawlers. And I'm going to start that off with kind of giving you the tale of how this came to be, if you'll indulge me. So it started off with my local play group, which is basically just me and a married couple, Zach and Teresa. When I got back into Magic, the most recent time, April of 2018, I got into EDH really, really hard. Like, I had played EDH before, but was never really like into it. But like, I got into EDH like really, really hard when I got back into Magic. And that's probably mostly because of game nights, just watching it on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And so I came to them with an idea of, let's do a deck challenge, which was really influenced by what I was seeing on Commander Versus. You know, they have like a different kind of theme every week for what they're doing. So I kind of wanted to do that with my local play group. So it was the three of us, and we started doing it. We started off monthly, but then we switched to like every other month. And then one of our challenges was to do a budget deck. And after we did that, we liked it so much that we decided, let's make all of them budget. Because it was fun. The decks were just as good and fun as the non-budget decks. And it saved us a lot of money, for building all those decks that we were building. So we did that. And then the challenges that we were doing were just budget from then on. It was still the three of us for a while, and then I met you at Command Fest Chicago in November. Do you wanna interject there and tell people how we kind of met up?
Yeah, so I found your it was either I found your blog through Twitter, or we started talking through Twitter and then I found it. But I liked what I saw, started plugging it with my 3 or 4 followers, because that's what you do. And then we found out we were going to the Command Fest, and I said, hey, we should jam a game. So we met up at Command Fest. We played about a game or two, and you showed me Traxos, and I was really excited about it. And so we both got up, started going to other tables, and I'm like, hey, before you go, I noticed you had Mystic Forge. Take this foil one. So I just kind of threw it at you, and you're like, why? Why are you just giving this to me?
I'd never had anybody just give me a foil card before. It was a generosity that I wasn't used to, so it kind of threw me off guard. But that's just the person you are, Nick. You're a generous and nice guy, and I will never forget that. So needless to say, we hit it off when we met back in November of 2019. I also met Andy Flory there from the Guardian Project, Mike Coyle as well. Met a bunch of other people there. It was a really cool time. Sad we didn't get to do more of those this year, obviously, but hopefully late next year we'll get to start doing cons again. So we hit it off, and then I put out a call on my Twitter saying, hey, our playgroup still needs a 4th if anybody in the Milwaukee area is interested. And you answered the call, and I was really surprised, because when I talked to you at Command Fest, you said you're from Kenosha. You said you were living in Kenosha. I was like, does he know we're in Milwaukee? He's going to actually make this drive? And yeah, you were on board. You wanted to make the drive to come play with us every 2 weeks and build decks with us. So now you're in my local play group as well with Zach and Teresa, and then so I think you only got to do one paper deck with us, right?
Yeah, I know we did. We did a couple sessions, but it was just the one paper deck, and it was the challenge was we're going to pick decks for the other players.
Yeah, it was opponent's choice.
Weird because it was my first time there, so Andy's like, okay, I'll just do yours, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked for a list of my decks, and I gave it to him, and at the time I didn't have pretty much any white or black decks, so he's like, okay, sweet, you can play decks. So it's like, ugh. All right. So that was a challenge, and I learned a little bit from it, found some new cards, and I just really enjoyed playing with the group. So I pretty much told myself, all right, you're not going to get any sleep on Tuesday night, which is fine. You're just going to go and have fun and blow off some steam early in the week. So.
Mm-hmm. So, very shortly thereafter, COVID hit, and our local play group went all virtual. So we weren't even playing over webcam because Zach and Teresa, due to COVID, didn't have the funds to build decks anymore. So we actually moved over to Cockatrice. And we have been playing our deck challenges on Cockatrice ever since. But then I kind of felt like I wanted to do more than what we were doing. So I had approached you. I actually scrolled back through all of our long list of messages on Twitter, and I approached you with this idea of doing another challenge group on August 3rd of this year. And it kind of snowballed from there because I was like, hey, do you want to do a challenge group? And then like the same day I was like, hey, any interest in streaming it? Because I had started watching, people streaming stuff. So it kind of picked up from there. We very quickly started working on setting things up and, getting webcams. And we very soon after that, we reached out to Andy and Lenny to be our first guests for
Both
our
in chat,
first.
by the way. Shout out to
They're
Andy
here.
and Lenny.
They're here tonight. Hearing this long-winded tale, and then September 3rd we announced it, and a lot of people were very interested and very excited about it. Said they wanted to be involved, and we've had a bunch of those people join us on episodes that we've had, future episodes. We've already booked people as well. And we have had, we've had 10 streams so far. Actually, this is our 11th. We have 77 followers now.
We do.
77 followers. A couple weeks ago we hit affiliate because we managed to do 7 streams within a 30-day period, which I didn't think was ever going to be possible for us with our schedule, but we managed to pull it off. We hit affiliate, and we now have 3 subscribers, 2 of which are in chat right now. Shout out to Andy and Colin. Thank you both so much. We will be very rich very soon, I'm sure.
Living off those Twitch bucks.
Yeah, I was looking at our ad money. What did I say it was? Like
17 cents.
Yeah, we've earned 17 cents from ads so far. So yeah, I'm about to go out and get a new wardrobe and
make sure to grab yourself a soda from your local soda brand, I guess. I don't know. Whatever they put on the advertisement.
Yeah, Twitch doesn't. I think they pay out at like $100. So yeah, we'll have money in like 5 years, and I mean I've already spent it, but we'll have it.
Lenny, we are not spending it on foils. We were not sponsored by Pringles, so we're not doing that.
No, we are sponsored by White Claw. No laws with White Claws.
The family-friendly show sponsored by
All right. So that's Twitch. YouTube, we've got 27 subscribers. There's 10 videos up on there so far, and 217 views when I checked last night. So,
oh wow,
that's pretty cool. That's in like over 2.5 months. It's not bad.
That's not bad.
We haven't broken the algorithm yet, but we're working on it. And then it's already been broken. Yep. And then Twitter, we're up to. We just started our Twitter account just a few weeks ago, right? And we're already up to 43 followers on there. And thank you to everybody who is following us on any of those platforms: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, ChatterBait. Everything. It's very.
No, wait.
Oh no, not that one. We'll edit that out. Thank you, everybody who follows us. That's is really cool, and we're not celebrities at all, but I think I'm extremely humbled by the people that do watch what we do, and I'm kind of surprised to be honest.
Kind of funny. Like when you first started this, I'm like, I'm not one to get starstruck, and then we literally got like Andy and Lenny on stream. I'm like, oh my god, we're doing it! It's so cool.
Yeah, no, those guys are awesome. It's been great. It's been a great 3 months since our first stream. 4 months since we've been setting it up. Thank you, Andy and Lenny in chat, giving us compliments and everything, and it's really makes us feel great, and it makes us especially feel good about where we're going in 2021. We still have our big event coming up for the year in less than 2 weeks now, our charity event. Hopefully we'll do really well with that and raise a lot of money for a good cause. NoKidHungry.org. Don't forget, get your donations in by December 20th. And with that said, let's talk about what we're looking forward to for next year. And while we're talking about this, chat, I want you to think about what you want to see from us next year. What would you like to see us doing? Let us know. Nick, why don't you start us off here? What do you want to accomplish, or what are you looking forward to with Scrap Trawlers next year?
Well, I think it's a small goal just because we're going to have 12 months, hopefully. I'm looking to have 200 followers on the Scrap Trawler Twitter account.
Okay.
I don't think it's much of a stretch, but it would help us. It would save us from trying to retweet our own selves every time we want to promote something. So.
Yes, apologies to anybody that follows all three of us and sees us constantly retweeting stuff. The plan is that we will stop doing that once we get enough followers on our Scrap Trawlers account that people actually know what's happening without following us personally as well.
We're just really excited about everything we do. We want you to know it.
I just have nothing else to talk about. So for my goal, I would like to reach 100 subscribers on YouTube by the end of next year. We're up to 27 over 2.5 months. So I think we can hit 100. So a couple months ago, I reached out to EDH Rec because on their site they have the, what do they call it, the where they promote the other videos.
Yeah, it's like the community, in the community tab.
Yeah.
Or at least section when you're looking at a commander.
Yeah. So we reach out to them and say, hey, how do we get on there? And at that point, we only had I think we only had 1 or 2 videos on YouTube, and they were really nice about it. They weren't who are you or anything. They just said, here's what we need, and
Let me do my best Jason All impression. What?
Get
out of
here. We're nowhere near what they require to get on their content, but hopefully at some point. Nick, why don't you tell us your next thing?
All right. So if they exist next year, I want us both to go to a Magic Fest or a Command Fest.
Yeah.
I just want us to go we'll both be there on our own accords, of course, but I want to get in a couple games as the Scrap Trawlers. I know we're not big, but it would be super cool, I think, just to do that.
Yeah. I'm also very excited to start doing conventions together. Like you said, as the Scrap Trawlers. I think that's really cool. Maybe get some swag to hand out. And I think I'm interested in trying to get talk to people in person to get them to hear about us, rather than using Twitter to tell people who already know us. We want to get out there and meet some people. That's
Ooh. We could do versus games. Andy versus Scrap Trawlers versus the Guardian Project. That would be sweet.
Yeah, I'm into that. So I guess that brings us to our next one here. So you and I both have listed on our goals is collaborate with other content creators. I mean, at this point, we've had a content creator on each episode so far, and we'll have them on December as well. I think January will be the first time that we don't. Although you said they are working on starting up a podcast, so we haven't announced who they are though. But
we don't know if the podcast is happening. But I'm I'm kind of trying to push them in the direction of finally pulling the trigger.
So yeah, but yeah, you go ahead and talk. Tell us what you want to do for collaborations.
I just wanna like even with not even just on the Scrap Trawlers channel. Like I want to be able to maybe have us both guest like on some other thing. You know, kind of like what Andy Flair was saying. We can do like Scrap Trawlers versus or whoever. Or maybe just helping out in the community too, like with other charity projects and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm definitely down for that. Yeah, there's a few people that we could collaborate with, and shows like the Guardian Project that we can, you know, kind of bounce off of each other with different events and stuff. So just looking at like stuff in chat right now.
Oh, Colin O'Clock too. We got to get some games in.
Yeah, definitely. So Lenny mentioned deck tech content, and I am actually working on that. It's slow going, mostly because, you know, we're already doing a lot, and I am a parent, so my time is pretty limited on the weekends. But I do have plans for us to start making deck tech videos on YouTube. For some of our decks. Definitely won't have time to do all of them, but in the future we are definitely planning to do some deck techs, and I just have to design, you know, figure out what exactly that's going to look like, you know, and how much I actually want my face on the camera. And it would just have to be me for the time being until, you know, we're done with COVID, and then we can start doing more collaborative video stuff once Nick and I can start being in the same room, you know, working together. Let's see. What else is there? Andy also suggested some kind of two-headed giant or plane chase streams. Yeah, you know, I actually hadn't thought of that. I suppose we could work that into some theme in the future that we do, or maybe we pick, you know, guests to come on with, you know, the specific intention that whatever our theme ends up being, we'll do that, you know, the normal Scrap Trawlers thing, but also do like some sort of alternate format thing. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. To anybody else who actually knows me, 2D Giant is like my favorite limited format. Especially for like pre-releases. Locally here, we do a bunch of different pre-releases. At least we used to pre-pandemic. And one I would make sure to go to every single time is a two-headed giant pre-release, and it's like some of the most fun I've had in Magic.
Sully, thank you for stopping by. Sorry I missed your message there. Oh, you got him on the chat. Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I honestly hadn't even thought about it. So we're already doing so much with like our themes and stuff, but, you know, adding a different kind of a format element onto it too could be pretty fun. Colin says deck tech by mail. I do half, you do the other half. I don't think that would work. I would have to teach you a lot of stuff. You'd have to go and learn your own video editing, I think.
Yeah, I'm proficient in Microsoft Excel. I am less proficient in MS Paint.
Yeah. What is horse and buggy magic? What does that mean?
Because Andy was saying a deck tech by mail. I'm like, oh, like horse and buggy.
Oh yeah, Colin. Yeah.
Carrier pigeon magic.
Yeah. Carrier pigeon. You guys.
That's back in your day, right?
Yes. Because I'm old.
That's right.
Got it. Yep. All right. Let's. Why don't you move on to the next thing here?
All right. So one thing that I kind of alluded to in our schedule, bookkeeping thing. I want to start and or complete a series on building on a budget. So kind of starting that right now with deck archetypes like +1/+1 counters. Kind of want to see what we can do as far as other archetypes like Voltron, maybe going into like a color series, to see what nice budget staples that we normally use, or maybe even how we start personally building our budget decks.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that is that there's not a lot of content out there for budget building, per se. I mean, there's
budget
obviously
options galore, but as far as like building within a sphere where your playgroup will be budget, it's kind of hard to find content for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously there's Commander's Quarters, but I don't know. I don't watch him anymore.
Same.
Yeah, kind of dead to me after some of the stuff he pulled.
Well, not only that they just kind of stopped doing budget content after a while, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about him here, but yeah, I think yeah, there's definitely a space to fill as far as, building on a budget and, showing people what we do and how you can do it too and how fun it is. I mean, a lot of people who do try it end up loving it. Like I did. When we did our first budget challenge, I was like, immediately went to Zach and Teresa. I'm like, this is really cool. Let's just do this. Because it saves you a lot of money, and you're not having any less fun by playing on a budget. You're not.
You're actually having more fun in most cases.
I mean, I think the restriction breeds more creativity, to be honest.
Agreed.
You're not just trying to fill your whatever deck you're building with whatever the staple rare is for that particular deck, because most of those are too expensive for a budget deck. But like Andy Fleury, I know they've done some budget decks as well on their show, and it seems like they really enjoyed it as well. So as Andy just pointed out, you don't often fling a Llanowar Elves to kill the host of the show when you're not on a budget. This is true.
It's true.
It's true. You're not gonna do that when you're not playing on a budget. Yeah, I'm excited to start working on that. I think it'll be cool.
Right, what do you got, Andy?
So, for me, I just want us to look better. That's one of my biggest goals.
What are you trying to say?
Well, you're super cute. Don't worry about it. I mean, like, I want our stream to look better. I want our YouTube videos to look better. I just want our content to just, kind of move more towards a more professional look. And that's something that I'm slowly working on as I try to learn, all the programs that, we used to make content. I very quickly picked up Adobe Premiere Pro. I still have a lot to learn, but we're getting by on what I have. And I'm, if you've been watching our videos, you probably noticed that each one kind of gets a little bit better as far as the editing, the graphics, and everything like that. Starting to work on learning Photoshop and all that stuff, and making graphics. I'm hoping to at some point get some better alerts on our stream. I tried to make some, but I had some issues with conversion for some reason. So hopefully we'll have all that soon. But that's a big goal for me, is just make everything look better.
Yeah, well, we got at least me. I got another webcam coming, so I can do face cam and the playmat.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a new mic, so I don't have to sound so quiet and tinny. So that's coming pretty soon.
Yeah. What else?
All right. Last thing I have on my list is kind of doing what we end the show with every single time, whether it's ScrapChat or like a proper Scrap Trawlers game stream. I just want us as a show to be a positive voice for the community. Yeah,
I second that. As we said at the beginning of this ScrapChat, we're starting to focus more on positivity in the community, because occasionally Magic Twitter can be anything but positive. So we've Nick and I have always gone more towards the positive side and kind of shunned the negative kind of thing. And I think we're gonna start really promoting not only being positive but also promoting people who are positive in the community as well and have positive impacts and that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to do that, to do more of that with you in the coming year.
Exactly, and especially shouting people out that maybe aren't getting the attention we think they deserve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I think we can call it to a close. We've covered everything we wanted to say.
Yeah.
Everybody in chat, thank you for stopping by and talking 2020 with us and telling us about your ideas for the future. We'll definitely take a lot of those into consideration. And I'm very happy to have you here, and everybody who follows us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everybody. You're all great. Made these last few months really turn the year around for me, to be honest. COVID kind of, kicked me in the butt mentally with work and everything. So, having this to look forward to, and the more and more that we're doing and getting out there and everything, it's been awesome. So thank you all. But most importantly, thank you, Nick. You're awesome. Thank you for joining me on this journey. You're not only a great co-host, you're an awesome friend, and you're one of my best friends.
I am not gonna cry.
Don't cry.
I'm not gonna see a girl.
Don't cry.
No, but I feel the same way, Andy. I want to thank you and everybody in chat and everybody that follows us for just coming with us on this journey. I know we're still doing early, and from the get-go, we were both saying we want to do good. If we're gonna do this, let's make it worth it. Even if things fall apart or I get hit by a bus, I don't know. The buses are rampant everywhere around here. I don't know about you, but if that happens, at least we did some good along the way.
Yeah,
and I think that's what matters. So thanks to you, Andy. Thanks to everyone for for coming along with us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody who hung out with us tonight. Stay safe. Be good. Black Lives Matter. Trans rights are human rights. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Mana burn on a creature. Your lock of Scorch Thrash.
No, your lock.
Your lock. Your mom. Your mama's lock.